Hey, wait. Back in Boston? Back when I was bitten? I wasn't alone. My best friend was there. And she got bit too. We didn't know what to do. So, she says, let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
Oh, you don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And you... No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Dose of D-Pad Podcast, the swag capital of the world. I know I earlier promised to do a Jack and Daxter video commentary this week, but unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, I decided not to, because first of all, for two reasons really. First of all, I just wanted to go back to the roots of the podcast. I wanted to get back to where I was before, and I didn't want to wait another week to do that because it's been such a mess lately. But I want to continue season 3 right, so I decided to switch back to just audio for this week and for the upcoming weeks as well. Also, the other reason is that Jack and Daxter for Vita is not very good, in my opinion. It's okay. It's worse than I expected, at least. It's the same games. It's Jack and Daxter, Jak 2 and Jak 3, but the frame rate and the input, I don't know. The button input is off. It's laggy. It's unresponsive at points. I just don't. I don't know. I have a weird feeling about that game, you know, or that collection of games. But we'll see. But besides that, I mean, it is the same games. It's great for portability. I'm doing a review later on. I've already planned on giving it a 7.0, so that's no surprise. Also, I've been playing The Last of Us. I finished that today, and I'm going to be posting my review of that as well on b10.com, b-ten.com, at a later point tonight or tomorrow. But I'm not going to really talk much about that right now, because that is our discussion topic of the week this week. So I will be talking The Last of Us at the end of the show, and that's really going to be our main focus of today's show, at least.
Top ranking games of the week.
We have absolutely no upcoming events, so yeah, I don't have that segment of the show today, so I'm moving on to top ranking games of the week, and the number one top ranking game of this week is The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3, exclusively on the PlayStation 3, developed by Naughty Dog, and it's for those of you who haven't heard all the hype, it's It's a third-person action game with survival horror elements. It's about an older dude who I can't explain it without spoiling the story, but it's about a dude who is one of the few people left on the planet because an infection broke out similar to I Am Legend, I suppose, and these zombie-like infected people are walking around, and there's only a few people left on the planet, and so he has to smuggle in this girl to I can't spoil the story again, so I'm not going to. But anyway, they have to work together to survive in this epidemic, and along the way, they grow in a close relationship. She's 14, he's an older dude. It's not like that. It's, how should I explain it? They grow into a father-daughter relationship, and just the way the story elements all play out is really great. But number 2, and that has a 94.75% on GameRankings.com. Number 2 is State of Decay for Xbox 360, has a 79.27%. Gears of War Judgment, Xbox 360, 77.53%. Animal Crossing New Leaf for 3DS, which I've heard is astounding, but I have not been able to play it yet. That's on 3DS, and that's 87.30%. And in that game, it's like Sims, but you play as the mayor of the city. Well, it's like the other Animal Crossing games, if you've played those, and you play as the mayor in the game, and you manage your own little town and stuff, with no real objective but to have fun. Number 5 is Marvel Heroes for PC. Number 6 is Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes for PC. Number 7 is Gunpoint for PC. Gotta sneeze. Woo. Man. Number 8 is Metro Last Light for PC. Number 9 is Roos for PC. And Reyes. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Number 10 is Dust 514 for PS3.
Dev Quotes.
Now on to Dev Quotes. For those of you who don't know, Dev Quotes is a segment in which I discuss a specific quote where that a developer or person of interest in the industry mentions something and I discuss it. So, what is this? Who is this guy? I don't know. This dude that works for Sony is like talking about the Vita and says that PlayStation 4 has given a Vita a shot in the arm, and meaning a good thing. I'm not sure. It sounds negative, but the way the article states it, it's giving the Vita a positive connotation, and it is speaking of the Vita as as an assistant to the PlayStation 4. So the PlayStation Vita has been struggling for the past year since it released on February 22nd in 2012. And ever since then, the launch lineup was great, but after that, games stopped being developed, and the only games left were really first-party games, similar to the situation that Wii U is finding itself in now. So, but the thing is, with Vita, there's an instant savior, and that's the PlayStation 4, which is also releasing. But with Nintendo, Wii U's their main console, so that's becoming more of an issue for them. Whereas the PlayStation Vita will sell systems just because it plays PlayStation 4 games. It streams PS4 games to Vita. And this guy's saying that, he says, I don't think it's unfair to say the Vita came into a very complex marketplace that probably wasn't fully envisaged at the time of the development started. And I agree. The Vita is trying to compete with smartphones and tablets, and it really can't find its audience anymore, whereas the PSP didn't have as much trouble because there were no smartphones or tablets. And with Vita, the marketplace for a hardcore gaming handheld is not really there anymore. So we're now running into problems with that. And I mean, I play my Vita all the time. My Vita is my main handheld device. I don't play games on my phone at all because, like many people who have a PlayStation Vita, once you get your hands on it, it's a completely different story. But since many people don't know about it and many people don't understand why they need it because they've never tried it, they're not going to buy one. But when they try it, that's when they become interested. And the PlayStation 3 is a system. He also said the PlayStation 3 is a system where it hasn't been particularly easy to get the costs down. So he's also discussing in these quotes that the PlayStation 3 will not receive a price cut anytime soon, which I'm not sure it really needs a price cut right now. It's about $200 to buy a PS3. But by the time the PS4 comes out, yeah, that'll be time for the price cut for the PS3. I, for one, have a PS3. You should have a PS3. If you're listening to this, I don't know why you wouldn't. But then again, I don't have a 360. Not because 360 isn't a good system, but I don't see which games are on the system that I need that aren't already on PC or on PS3. Halo sounds interesting. I've never played a Halo game. I played Halo Combat Evolved on my PC, and that's it. So I'd like to see what some of the newer Halo games are like. I might get a 360 after the Xbox One and PS4 release. I'm not getting a One, so maybe later. Especially now that, well, I'll discuss it all in the Direct Xbox segment, which is up next.
Direct Xbox.
Xbox One will no longer require an internet connection or restrict used games, but will in fact require an internet connection for initial setup. However, the internet will continue to complain. The people of the internet, I should have said. But, yeah, this is big news because the only reason the PS4 is really outselling Xbox One right now in terms of pre-orders is because the Xbox One restricts used games, doesn't allow, or it's up to publishers to allow or not allow used games, which none of them will if it's up to them, because they're making money off new games. And it also required an internet connection every day to check in every 24 hours. So if you're on vacation and you take your Xbox One with you, it is a living brick. Besides, I think video functionality still works or something. You can't play games on a games device. Also, Microsoft has announced that the price of a new first-party Xbox One game will cost gamers $59.99. There will be no price increase. You can continue to live your life now. The Xbox 360 and PS3 games cost $59.99, and as do the Xbox One games. EA has claimed that the new Star Wars Battlefront game in development will not be a Battlefield game. In other news, an apple is not an orange. I'm not sure why they had to say that the Star Wars Battlefront game would not be a Battlefield game. That's like saying Knack is not going to be a Call of Duty game. Okay. Well, that's not really like saying that because they're not from the same publishers. Let's see what's from the same publishers. It's like saying The Last of Us is not going to be a Crash Bandicoot game. See, that works. Same developer, too.
PlayStation Nation.
Sony has released a video showing off the PlayStation 4's official user interface. Yeah. PlayStation 4 games will also cost $59.99, similar to that price of which the Xbox One games cost. Bungie has trademarked Become Legend for Destiny. Could this somehow tie into the PlayStation 4's Greatness Awakes slogan? Or am I just being cleverly paranoid? The Witness on PS4 is reportedly abstract, non-linear, and weird according to its developer, Jonathan Blow. Its premise centers around the solving of puzzles using flattened squares with mazes on them. There are no tutorials in the game, and all of the puzzles require players to learn on their own as they progress throughout the game. That sounds interesting. I think that sounds like a game I would really love but be really awful at. Like, I would probably play one level and then I would need a video walkthrough. I'm not even sure if I'd finish the first level. I would be like, oh, screw this. And then I would go check out the video review. Or not video review. Why did I say review? I meant walkthrough. They rhyme. They kind of sound alike. No, the ends kind of sound similar. PlayStation 4 is reportedly outselling Xbox One pre-orders 3-2, and actually I've heard 2-1 at GameStop. Sony has even gone as far to increasing their sales forecast for the console, although their exact numbers are unspecified. Jak and Daxter Collection, as well as Epic Mickey 2, are now available on the PlayStation Vita store, whereas Uncharted 3 and Saints Row the Third are now available for free for PlayStation Plus users on the PlayStation 3 store.
Leave luck to heaven.
Steel Diver is Nintendo's free-to-play
Elite Machines.
Steel Diver game is the exact one that was available on the 3DS at launch, but if so, I'm not really into that, so good luck, Nintendo. The latest 3D... man, I just ate dinner, so messed up. The latest 3DS firmware update adds new Street Pass games for Europeans and Japanese users. Also, I forgot to mention the new PlayStation 3 firmware update has reportedly bricked PS3 systems, which is not good. I updated to the latest PS3 firmware, and I've had no problems, surprisingly, because usually this kind of stuff affects me, and affects me only. But I didn't have a problem, luckily. So I was able to finish my Last of Us game. Nintendo has claimed that their used game policy is to make games people won't want to sell. Now this is obviously a joke. Well, I mean, it's serious that they don't have a used games policy, but they're mocking Xbox and PS4, where Xbox One was supposed to originally restrict used games, and PS4 still uses an online pass, and as will Xbox One. But Wii U does not block any used games or online content. No online passes either. And so Nintendo jokingly says that their own used game policy is to make games that people won't want to sell to anyone else. So they're joking that they make great games, which they do, because they always make sure their games are polished before they release them, and they don't need an update. There are no plans for Smash Bros. DLC or Namco Bandai characters in the new Brawler. However, the Zelda franchise is considering the use of DLC. Also, the title for the upcoming Smash Bros. Games are Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Super Smash Bros. For 3DS respectively. Terrible, terrible names. Just awful, but it doesn't matter because the games themselves will probably be wonderful. The new Smash Bros. Games also may not release at the same time on the 3DS and Wii U. I hope they have different release dates, about a month, maybe apart, maybe more. That way I can enjoy each equally. As you may all know, the 3DS version is a more cel-shaded version with outlined characters and more cartoony look to it, whereas the Wii U version is going to be more in the style of the previous Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but with HD graphics and all kinds of new updates with characters and backgrounds and such.
Elite Machines.
Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3 have reportedly been outed through Valve's own internal documentation. 1/2 times 3 times 4 times 3 divided by 6 equals 3. Half-Life 3 confirmed. Alienware has announced a new lineup of gaming laptops to replace their current MX lineup. I believe it starts at $1,100 for the new Alienware 14 and goes up from there. I have the M14X R2 and I like it a lot. I've had a few issues with it, a few viruses that were probably caused by me and also fixed by me. But besides that, I think it's a great laptop. A lot of people complain about the Alienware laptops, mostly because of their price range. But in my opinion, I think it's a pretty good laptop. I don't have the knowledge to build my own gaming laptop at the moment, nor did I have the time because I was in dire need of a laptop or some kind of computer at the time, so I needed to order one immediately, and that's the one I got because I was recommended to get an Alienware at the time. And I haven't really looked back since. Reports claim that game sharing may be making its way to Steam. That sounds like a good idea. What it does is it's going to allow gamers to it's going to allow players' friends to play their games when, hold on, this is really confusing the way I'm wording this. The game sharing feature is going to allow users to allow their friends on their Steam accounts to play their games when they're not playing them. So, say I have a copy of Half-Life 2 and I'm not playing it, and my friend says, "Hey, can I play your copy of Half-Life 2?" I'm like, "Sure." And he can play it while I'm not playing it. But when I'm playing it, he can't. So it kind of works out. Maybe I would start my own game rental service through Steam. That would be cool. I'd be one of the first to do that. Dang it, shouldn't have put this idea out there.
Discussion topic of the week.
And last but not least, my discussion topic this week is The Last of Us. And I'm not going to go too in-depth with this because I am writing the review for The Last of Us for B10.com. And you can check that out when it's finished, either today or tomorrow. But The Last of Us is a good game. No doubt about it. Doubtlessly, The Last of Us is a good game. And it met my expectations as a Naughty Dog game, and I had been waiting about 2 years for this game to come out. Or I've been waiting since it was announced for this game to actually come out. And I had extremely high expectations for it, and they were met. But unfortunately, the game didn't reach as high as it could have. I think I expected it to exceed my expectations, as the previous 3 Uncharted games have done, and as BioShock Infinite did earlier this year, which isn't a Naughty Dog game, but is also a Game of the Year contender, and will most likely have my vote for this year's Game of the Year. The Last of Us is... let's start with the gameplay. The gameplay is fantastic. The stealth missions are great, and I love the stealth mechanic in the game. But then some of the there's flaws. There's technical flaws. The AI gets in the way sometimes. There's little glitches that bug me every now and then that kind of cause frustration. There's problems with I don't know. There's just certain issues in the game that bother me. I'll keep having to replay certain... It kind of takes away from it when I have to keep replaying the same scene over and over trying to figure out how to do this, and I can't figure it out because it's too difficult. There are a few of those in the game. There's not a lot, but there are a few. I played on easy so I could kind of get through it, so I could write the review, but there were still hard parts. There were still parts I was going through. One part I might have done like 50 times. It was in the snow. There was a snow area, and I had to get past these guards and stuff, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. I had to end up using a video walkthrough for that part, and actually for a couple more parts after that, I hadn't used the video walkthrough the whole time. Then all of a sudden I had to, and that was kind of abrupt, I guess, and just little things like that bugged me. And then the storyline was amazing, like great story, but certain parts of it weren't told as great as they could have been. Like in Uncharted, you get these blockbuster dramatic moments where even if it's not an important event, you feel like it is, and emotionally you connect with it because it's so big, it's such a immersive, massive experience. But then in The Last of Us, it doesn't feel as immersive. It feels realistic, that's for sure, but not all the time is realism the proper way to go, and that's kind of why I'm heading more towards Bioshock Infinite with my Game of the Year vote, because Infinite was completely original, and then we come to originality, where The Last of Us was basically copying, well, in its ideas, it basically copied a ton of other sources: The Walking Dead, The Road, World War Z, all kinds of different. I Am Legend. There was some movies they mentioned that Naughty Dog actually mentioned directly that were the source material for The Last of Us, and it's great to have inspiration, but when the entire plot of the game is from something else, it kind of takes away from it. But I'm not saying that Naughty Dog hasn't done that before. They did exactly that with the Uncharted games. It was directly taken from Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones, but they made it their own. And they still do that in a way with The Last of Us, but they don't make it exciting. They don't make it as exciting as it could be. It could be a much more dramatic game. But I think for some reason they didn't want to do that, and for some, I could like it if it was kind of naturally, if it was naturally immersive and more realistic. But at points it tries to be dramatic, and then it just kind of fades. And I question why it does that, why the story is like that. And some parts didn't feel like they were quite done. Some part, like script-wise. The game's beautiful, though. The graphics are amazing for a PS3 game. I feel like if they ported it to PS4, it'd be a great addition to the PS4 collection. Up-resed it to 1080p, maybe up-res a few of the textures and stuff like that. I think that'd be cool, but overall the game was great, but it didn't exceed my expectations. For my full review of The Last of Us, you can check it out on b10.com. That's b-ten.com. And it'll be available later tonight or tomorrow morning, or at some point tomorrow throughout the day. Thank you for listening to Joseph D-Pad Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening and wonderful day tomorrow. And for the rest of your life, just enjoy it, man. Or woman. Because that's what life's about.